Good morning. Good morning. This is Saturday, October the 16th. And today we are going to review national questions and answers. So this video is going to go through this book, Texas Real Estate License Exam Prep. Okay, it was published in 2002. I'm sorry, it's 2020 or 2020. And we've been reviewing national questions on here. So I'm doing it a little bit different today. It'll be a shorter class and focusing just on national questions. So stay tuned. This is Wild Lillie Hendy with AgentPrep, based out of San Antonio, Texas, or Texas in general, okay? So you'll be able to study national exams questions for the exam anywhere in the US, okay? And next session, we'll go over state questions. So this is the book, Texas Real Estate Exam. And one of the reasons why I like this book is because it has different exams for state and national. Of course, this would be for state, would be for Texas, okay? And all the sections that you studied for the exams, okay, when you took all your courses, real estate math, cram cards, the Texas laws, national practice exams, which there are 10 of them, and it has the answer key. It explains the answers for you. Instead of just giving you the letter, it answers questions. And that's one of the books that I end up using. They explain the answers. And the other book that we use for vocabulary that we did on Wednesday, that one is on our Facebook group. This book I cannot share with you because of the copyright. So today we're starting out with okay, why wouldn't it go there? Let me go. We're starting out with 3.7. Okay, so bear with me here. Okay, we're starting with question 3.7 on page 145. And this section talks about land use, legal descriptions, and contract law. You can purchase this book on Amazon.com, and I ended up downloading it. And I changed the screen trying to accommodate it for you to watch on your phone. So if you see me going back and forth, that's because I'm doing it to accommodate you to be able to see it larger on your phone. All righty. So let's get started here. Let's see if we'll see the whole question on one page. Okay, that's not large enough, so I'm going to enlarge it. Oh yes, because I ended up. Okay, let's see if we can get 3.7 all in one page. Yes, there we go. All right, number 3.7, this is test number 3. These are national questions. Okay, so which of the following situations is most likely to represent an illegal non-conforming use? A homeowner in a residential zone converts her residence to a private school. B, a homeowner builds a tool shed in a neighborhood where there are no tool sheds. C, a store owner remodels the storefront in accordance with regulations, and then the zoning is changed to residential. D, a new zoning ordinance outlaws two-story additions after a homeowner completes an addition. So think about it and write your answer in the text box, in the chat box, either here on StreamYard, and the comment that I wrote for StreamYard. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Okay, you need to give Facebook permission to share your name on StreamYard, okay? So type your answer in. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong one. Sorry. I'm trying to show the Facebook for those of you that may attend through Facebook. So this is being streamed on YouTube AgentPrep, on my AgentPrep Facebook page, and business page. AgentPrep Facebook page and business page. All right. So no takers. Okay, the answer here is 3.7A. A homeowner in a residential zone converts her residence to a private school. So it asks here, which of the following situations is most likely to represent an illegal non-conforming use? So if you're in a residential area and someone changes it to commercial, right, which is a school, even though it's a private school, doesn't matter. It's in a residential and it's not allowed without getting a conforming use for it. So 3.7A. So you see how it shows my name, YouTube AgentPrep or AgentPrep with Wow Lillie Handy. Okay, it's because I've given Facebook permission to let StreamYard post your name. (3.8) What is the difference between a variance and a non-conforming use? A variance, you're varying, okay? Non-conforming, it doesn't conform to the current zoning. So what is the difference between variance and a non-conforming use? A variance, once granted, is unconditional and permanent. B, a variance is granted by the zoning board if the owner has a justifiable reason. C, a non-conforming use is allowed if the owner requests it in advance of building. D, a non-conforming use violates current zoning, but a variance does not. So what is the difference? What is the variance? What is non-conforming use? So by knowing vocabulary, it helps you know how to answer these questions. I forgot to put my phone on mute. So I'm doing that now. Okay, so a variance, so the answer here is B. A variance is granted by the zoning department, which will be presented at the adjustment board if the owner has a justifiable reason. So the individual wanting a variance to do something different on their property that is not permitted per the current zoning will present the variance request to the zoning board or the adjustment board. That board will then present it to the local people within a certain radius from that property where they want to make a change. And then there's a meeting, a public meeting, so that both sides can present their case in case somebody does not want that owner to implement the variance. If there's no contradiction and the variance board agrees, they'll give permission, and that is granted and justifiable for that individual to make the change. So the answer is 3.8B. So good morning to those of you that are attending. So we're going over national questions today. We did vocabulary on Wednesday, so I'm making a little bit of a difference. So we're now on question 3.9 on national questions. So let me see if I can get the whole question on one page. Okay, there we go. So a document certifying that a structure complies with building codes and is ready for use is referred to as what? A document certifying that a structure complies with building codes and is ready for use. So it's ready to be occupied. What is that called? A, inspection report. B, satisfaction bond. C, certificate of occupancy. Or D, user permit. I'll give you a moment to type the answer in. Remember to type the question down and the letter. And hopefully you've given Facebook permission to post your name on StreamYard. I posted that on the comments starting the class. So go ahead and take a chance and type your answer. This is the time to do it. Because for some reason you get it incorrect, and I will explain why it's not correct or why it is correct. Okay, nobody taking a chance? Okay, well, the answer is 3.9C. Certificate of occupancy. So if there's a new home being built, so when you end up becoming a realtor and you're going to be helping someone buy a brand new build, it'll be under a new home contract, and it has to provide a certificate of occupancy, right? Because it's not a resale of a home, it's their initial sale. So it's never been occupied before. So it's a different contract than the normal 1 to 4 resale contract. So 3.9C. Okay, number 10. Let's see if it'll all show up on one page. Yes, there we go. Which of the following is true of an eminent domain proceeding? Okay, eminent domain, one of the police powers. A, it cancels the property owner's mortgage loan balance. B, it leaves the property owner with equitable title in place of legal title. C, it conveys legal title to the acquiring entity. Or D, it clouds the chain of title by canceling the original grant. So what is eminent domain? As you all know, or if you're new, I stress learning your vocabulary because you're learning a new language. Eminent domain is the key word here. You know the definition, you'll be able to answer the question. So eminent domain, which one is it? A, it cancels the property owner's mortgage loan balance. B, it leaves the property owner with equitable title in place of legal title. C, it conveys legal title to the acquiring entity. Or D, it clouds the chain of title by canceling the original grant. So in eminent domain, somebody else is going to end up with the property. Right? It's a police power. So type your answers. Don't be shy. Let me help you out so that you understand why a particular answer. So who is here today? Say good morning. If you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, say good morning so that I know who's here. So the answer is 310C. It conveys legal title to the acquiring entity. And who is the acquiring entity? It'll be the city, the county, whoever's buying it. For hi, Connie. Thanks for joining us. Whoever's buying it for public use. Eminent domain allows the police powers, the community, the county, the city to take over a particular property for widening the streets, for a highway, for putting a different type of zoning in there, industrial, a power plant, water plant. Well, power plant, needs a lot of land. So in other words, or they're going to do a drainage canal, anything else that they're going to do it, or a park or whatever it's going to be, they're going to use it for public use, not as an investment to make money off of it. And the owner can fight it. They can go to court and have inverse eminent domain, because not inverse, sorry. So condemnation is when the police power, is taking control of the property. They go to court, they have to have the judge agree to it, and they have to pay a marketable purchase price. It may not be what the owner wants, but they can fight it in court. But it's condemnation. They condemn the property first before taking it over and having the title transferred to the acquiring entity. And that'll be one of the police powers. So answer is 310C. Okay, number 311. And for those of you who came in a little bit later, we're doing national questions today. Let us all know who's here by saying hello on Facebook or on YouTube, and it'll show up on StreamYard, because I am showing StreamYard. I'm using StreamYard to stream into 3 different locations. So you must give Facebook must give StreamYard permission to post your name onto StreamYard. Otherwise, you're going to show up like this. Okay. I won't know through StreamYard. I only know who's on here because I have my Facebook page open and I can see that that is Connie. So at the beginning of the class, when you look at the comments, I'm not sure how to show it on here, but it'll show you that you've got to give StreamYard permission. Okay, you see how here StreamYard gets to show. So you've got to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. I thought I had already posted 310C. All right. No, we don't want 3.8. So 3.10 was C. Okay, number 11. Among other provisions, hold on, let me take this off the screen so you can see the whole question. Among other provisions, the Superfund Act, CERCLA, CERCLA, and Superfund Amendment and Reauthorization Act of 1986 provided that what, right? We also want to learn acronyms, okay? So A, large development projects undergo an environmental impact survey immediately after completing of construction. Or B, industrial users of real estate comply with air quality standards. C, the EPA would give financial help to homeowners to remedy any hazardous situation resulting from radon, asbestos, or lead-based paint. Or D, parties responsible for improper disposal of hazardous waste could be charged for the cleanup costs. So what is the Superfund Act and Superfund Amendment and Reauthorization Act of 1986? What does it provide? Go ahead, write your answer down. This is the time to do it. Before you take an exam, right? You practice here. I always give you a little bit of time to answer the question. So no one wants to take a chance. Practice, practice, practice. Okay, the answer is D. Parties responsible for improper disposal of hazardous waste could be charged for the cleanup costs. So Superfund Act and Superfund Amendment and Reauthorization Act of 1986 provided that D, parties responsible for improper disposal of hazardous waste could be charged for the cleanup costs. Okay? See, so, and this recording will be on the Facebook group, and it'll also be on YouTube AgentPrep. So I have it in multiple places for you to access. All right, number 12. Public land use planning strives to balance which of the following potentially conflicting interests? Public land use planning. Okay, so the planning department strives to balance which of the following potentially conflicting interests? A, individual property rights and the public's interest. B, public policy makers and community business leaders. C, tenant occupancy specifications and construction contractors. D, individual property owners and municipal planning agencies. So public land use strives to balance, public land use planning strives to balance which of the following potentially conflicted interests, right? So it's all about the public interest, right? To protect consumers and not let, developers or commercial properties or, abuse property, the use of land, or individuals, right? Because individuals will start wanting to do that type of thing, trash and stuff. So what is the answer for 312? Remember to type the question and the letter answer so that we all know which question is being answered. Come on, participate, participate. Don't be shy. Take action. This is the time to take action. Okay, the answer is 12A, individual property rights and the public interest. So planning, is there, public land use planning is there to protect the public and their property, our property rights. Number 13, zoning, building codes, and environmental restrictions or forms of local land use control known as, okay, we can't see the whole question here. So zoning, building codes, and environmental restrictions are forms of local land use controls known as A, master planning, B, preemption, C, police power, or D, currency. So zoning, building codes, right? Every city has zoning, building codes, and there are also zoning and building codes for county. There's a lot of different types of property use zoning codes. Okay, somebody wrote police power, and Connie, that was Becca, and Connie did A. So zoning, building codes, and environmental restrictions or forms of local land use control known as A, master planning, B, preemption, C, police power, or D, concurrency. So these are police powers. Zoning, building codes, and restrictions are part of the police powers. Very good, Becca. Remember to put the question number and the answer, please. And thank you for participating. That's awesome. No, A was for the last question. Oh, I see. A was for the last question. Okay, so that's why I asked, put the answer down. Put the question number down. Individual property rights and the public's interest. Okay, very good. So for 13, it is C. Thank you for clarifying that, Connie. I love it that you're participating. This is good. See if I enlarge it, if it'll be on the same page. All right, here. All right, so that's a little bigger there. Okay, number 14. If a municipality exerts its power of eminent domain, definition, right, against a certain property owner, what happens? A, the owner must pay higher property taxes or give up the property. B, the owner must cede an easement without receiving any compensation. C, the municipality annexes the property. Or D, the owner must sell the property in exchange for market value compensation. If you were here for a prior question, you might have heard me say some of the answer. So eminent domain. You know the definition of eminent domain? You'll be able to answer this question. And eminent domain is also one of the police powers, right? Zoning is another. Okay, come on. Take a guess, take an answer. If you don't know it, take a guess. Eliminate two that you know are not, and then you have the choice of 50-50 on the two that are left over. So the power of eminent domain against a certain property owner, what happens? When the police power needs a piece of property for something, for growth. Okay, Connie says 14D, and so does Rebecca, or Becca. My middle name is Rebecca. Yes, 314D, very good. Yes, the owner must sell the property in exchange for market value compensation, not necessarily what the owner wants for the property. However, it goes into condemnation, so it goes into the court to make it happen. If the owner doesn't agree, I believe they do inverse condemnation, so they can fight it and bring their own market analysis, market value analysis. And then it'll be up to the judge. Very good, ladies. Well, I'm assuming you're both ladies, Connie and Becca. Right, number 15. Again, these are national questions. Hey, and if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, hey, like my Facebook page or subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the video, write a comment of how this helps you. I greatly appreciate that. So this is Wow Lillie Handy with AgentPrep to help you pass your exams. Okay, number 15. To be valid, a local zoning ordinance must do what? To be valid, a local zoning ordinance must. So pay attention to that word must. Has to be done. It's very rare that something is absolute, but it will be here. A, reasonably promote community health, safety, and welfare. B, comply with federal zoning laws. C, apply only to unique properties. Or D, publish periodically in the local newspaper. So to be valid, what does local zoning ordinance have to do? So write your answer before I show mine. Okay, Connie says B, comply with federal zoning laws. Okay, I'll wait for the other individuals. Remember to write the question number, please. Anybody else? No? Nobody else? Okay, the answer is A. Reasonably promote community health, safety, and welfare. You got all these are done to protect. Okay, good. So Irene, hey Irene, how you doing? Welcome back. So welcome back, Carter. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger used to say. So 315A. So local zoning is to protect the community, right? Our health, safety, and welfare. Okay, number 16. So let me show the answer. 315A. I'm sorry. Yes, A. Okay, so number 16. Why do communities require building permits? So, right, you're going into the planning department, either city or county, to present up an individual plans to build. You know, land developers, builders, individuals, commercial, they've got to get building permits. So why do communities require that? A, to promote development. B, to establish the basis for an inspection. C, to promote certificates of occupancy. Or D, to ensure the improvements comply with codes. Remember, type the question and then the answer. Okay, Irene says D. Okay, anybody else before I type the answer in? In this particular book, okay, it has awesome answers. It explains them really good. Okay, so let me go show you the book that I'm using for those of you that came in a little bit later. Texas Real Estate License Exam Prep. This was published in 2020. So I attempt to buy a book every year, and this is one of the books that I buy. Hide the notebook. Oops, I got to go back. There we go. All right, so let's see. D, ensure comply with codes. Yeah, to ensure that improvements comply with codes, because there's always someone that wants to violate codes. When you're out in the county, in the country, codes are going to be less restrictions. There are less restrictions out in the county, and taxes are lower. That's why individuals love to live in the county, so they have less restrictions. So very good. Well, it's a little windy today. I put a sign outside my house hanging, and it's banging, banging, banging with the wind. Okay, number 18. Okay, I'm going to have to change the size here so that it shows up on one. But then it comes out small. Let me see here. All right, let's see what happens when I do it that way. Almost, but not quite. So minimize it a little bit. And I do this for individuals that are reading on their phone. Okay, it still didn't work. Oh, darn it. Okay, let's see if that works now. Gosh, I'm just going to have to reduce it quite a bit. Bear with me. Oh, wait a minute. Darn it, I'm reducing the wrong thing. Pardon me. Okay, don't give up on me, okay? I was reducing the width of it instead of reducing the font. Okay. Okay, it's going to have to be small. So there we go. A nonprofit organization, this is number 18, wants to erect an urgent care facility in a residential zone. Given other favorable circumstances, the local authorities may grant permission by allowing what? A nonprofit organization wants to erect an urgent care facility, right? There's a lot of them now, right? In a residential zone. So given other favorable circumstances, the local authorities may grant permission by allowing what? A, special exception, B, an illegal non-conforming use, C, an easement, or D, a license. Oh, you know what? I skipped a question. I'll come back to it. So what is number 318? And we'll go back to 317 afterwards. So who's taking their exam sometime soon? Okay, come on, Irene and Becca and Connie. Write your answers in. No one's taking a chance at this one. So you know that churches can be built anywhere in residential areas, even though it's considered what, like a commercial building, but they can be put in residential areas. That's why you see them. So other types of things like urgent care, people need those, right? So far we have Connie with A, Irene with A, and that's correct. 318A, a special exception. So the police powers have the right to do that. And Becca, she says 316A. We're on 18, so maybe you meant 318A. Okay, so it's not illegal, right? Because it's not conforming. It's not an easement, right? An easement is a right of way, and they don't need a license. It'll be permits. So let's go back to number 17. I wish I knew the how to definitely work with the screen, but that won't work. Let me get it on one page. $317. Okay, keep showing up in 2 pages. Okay, there's 317 on one page. Okay, you can see the question and the answers, however, it's smaller. What is the purpose of residential zoning? Residential zoning. What is its purpose? Always read the question carefully, okay, so that you understand it. And Becca, thanks for correcting that. So 317, A, to increase home values in neighborhood. B, to regulate the density of dwellings in the residential zone. C, to prevent families from residing in commercial and industrial sites. Or D, to maximize intensity of usage. So what is the purpose of zoning, residential zoning, right? Because you could have single residence, you could have multi-residence, and you could have for duplex, triplexes. So there's a lot of different zonings. If a lot can permit having one residence, a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex. If it's going to be multiple, like an apartment complex, then that would also be, that would then go into commercial. So this is residential. 1 to 4 is residential, right? So if you're living in an area and the developer or the community only wants one home per lot, that's so that it doesn't get really crowded, right? Okay, now Connie says D. Okay, reminder again to type in the question and then the answer, please. So that's not correct. It is not to maximize intensity of usage. It's not about something being intense. When you want to limit the growth in a certain area, then you're following certain type of zoning requirements. R1 for single family, R2 for duplex, R3 for triplex, or RN for multiplex. So based on what I just mentioned, which would it be? Okay, Becca says C. No, it's not to prevent, no. The purpose of residential zoning is to regulate the density of dwellings in residential zone, B. Okay, so in certain areas, right, you can only have, you know, in the areas closer to town, you can only have one home per lot. So it minimizes the number of people on a street, right? Because now you have to accommodate a sewerage, water, you know, power, gas. So if there's too many, you know, it becomes not overwhelming, but it's too much for the area that it can bear. So when they extend a little bit further out into the community, there are certain areas that can accommodate 2, 3, or 4 plexes, right? And so then they have to accommodate the plumbing, the sewerage, and the power differently, and gas and parking in those areas. So they got to be able to, the zoning has to be able to, and the city, the, what do you call it? The Economical Development Council has to accommodate that, right? And they have different 5-year plans, which will explain how is the city going to grow? What do we need? What resources do we need to implement? So Irene, very good. 317B. We don't want it to get overpopulated in certain areas that cannot sustain too many people because of the, hold on, because of the utilities, okay? And what impact it'll have in the city, you know, drainage, curb and gutters, pollution. There's many different rules as to why zoning is limited in certain areas. Number 19. So very good. So 317B. I'm going to do 2 more questions and we'll call it quits. Today was only national questions. Okay. Next session, I will do state questions, which will be on Wednesday night. 19, a property that conformed with zoning ordinances when it was developed, but does not conform to new ordinances is said to be what? A property that conformed to zoning ordinances when it was developed, so years ago, but doesn't conform now to new ordinance, right? Because there were city changes, zoning changes, use changes. It is said to be what? A, an illegal special exception. B, a variance. C, a legal non-conforming use. Or D, unmarketable. So if there was, let's see here. If there was an area that had mixed use, you could have residential and commercial or light commercial in there. And somebody had a tire shop. And now they converted the zoning to all residential. What happens to that tire shop? It was built a long time ago. So do they get rid of it? Is it illegal? Do they have to require a variance? Or is it grandfathered in? Very good. C, 319C. It's a legal non-conforming use, right? Because it was conforming at one point. Now, should it ever burn down, then it will only be able to be constructed as the current ordinance. Very good. 319C. Okay, last question of the day. And then I'm going to go watch my grandson play soccer. And then work some more later on. So remember, this is Wild Lily Handy with AgentPrep on Facebook and YouTube AgentPrep. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel and like and comment on both Facebook or YouTube, wherever you are present right now. I think all of you are on Facebook. Okay, 319C, did I write it down? Let me show the answer. Okay, last question of the day. Gonna have to change the screen size. Through number 20. The approval process for development of multiple properties in an area includes submissions of what? A covenant of restrictions. B, a plat of subdivision. C, a court order. Or D, a developer's pro forma. So the approval process for development of multiple properties. Okay, approval process for development of multiple properties in an area includes submission of what? So before somebody can start building in an area, what has to be submitted first so that the planning department knows if it meets the zoning ordinances and their approval? So think about it. What has to be submitted first? Remember to always eliminate 2 answers right away and narrow it down to 2. Okay, I have Irene says D and Becca says B, and thank you for adding the question number. So this is process for a development. So if you're going to have a subdivision, that's a development, right? So before the city or the county can allow that, you need to present a plat of subdivision. That's a plat map. So they've got to do an application, pay their fees, present the plat map, and then what they're going to be building. So very good. So Connie says C. No, you don't need a court order. That's why we have planning departments, okay, and zoning ordinances. So you don't have to go to the court, right? It can take a long time to be going to the court, and it costs more money. So the planning department is one of the zoning ordinances, which is a police power. They make the decisions because they're there to protect the safety, wellness, and what was the other thing, of the community. So 320B is the correct answer. So Becca, you were right. So 320B, what was that other question? Well, the welfare. Okay, for health, safety, and welfare. That's what Logos zoning is. They take care of the community's health, safety, and welfare. Okay, and that's what zoning law, the police power of zoning. So a plat map. Okay, it's a drawing that subdivides a piece of land with all the different lots where a home is going to be built. Gotta go. Me too. Gotta go. Thank you for this awesome class. Keep up the great work. Have a blessed weekend. You too, Connie. Thank you for attending, and all of you who did. Hey, keep studying. And I'll tell you what, keep studying your vocabulary. By doing these questions right now, it should let you know that if the answer that you chose was incorrect, it lets you know you need to study the vocabulary, learn what covenants are, plat, subdivision, okay, developers pro forma, multiple properties, submission, approval process, development. All these terms, key terms, are in the glossary, in the vocabulary. Bye, Becca. See y'all on Wednesday. Oh, thank you. I will have fun with them. Haven't seen them in a couple of weeks. So vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. You've got to know the language of real estate before you can pass an exam, right? When you went to college and you're taking, I took engineering classes, math, right? You got to study the formulas in order to be able to solve problems. So, and understand what the words in mathematics mean. Right? Or you go to another country and learn a language. You've got to know the key words, the vocabulary in that language, so you can be able to speak it. So here we're speaking the language of real estate. So in order to learn the language of real estate, we've got to do what? Start with the basics, words, vocabulary, definitions. When we grew up and we didn't know what something meant, what? We were taught to look it up in the dictionary. Right now you can look it up on Google and find, all the almost all the answers. So for all of you that are still here and rewatching this, vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. Okay, are these vocabulary words in the book you use? This particular book does not have vocabulary. The other book that I use for the vocabulary sessions, okay, let me show it to you. It's on our Facebook page. I'll show you the book. It's an old book. Somebody last night on YouTube said, well, is this book good for 2021? Yes, it is. Why? Because it has the glossary and it has national questions. National questions don't change a lot. The ones that change are the state. And let me do the cover page and the table of contents. Come on. Gosh. There, table of contents. I'll show you the book that is on our website, or I'm sorry, our Facebook page. It's not on YouTube, okay? It's on here, on the Facebook page. And I'll show you also on Facebook page. So I'm opening up the document. So go to Wednesday's class, and I labeled it vocabulary. This is the book. It's an old book, Texas Real Estate Sales Exam. You know what? Because the book is old doesn't mean it isn't good. We learn a lot from older books, older versions. The thing that changes is some of the questions for the state section are going to be wrong because some of that has changed. There could be some national questions, but I haven't come across any that are wrong. This is the book, Texas Real Estate Sales Exam. You don't have to go buy it. It is free online. Somebody uploaded it. Okay. And so I added it to our Facebook group. It's by Learning Express. It was published in 2006. It's an excellent book. I've had so many students refer it to me, plus express that it is an excellent book. And it's got glossary from A to Z. There's a lot of different free vocabulary, key terms, glossary that you can study. You can also study on Prep Agent, Joe Juder's YouTube page. He has a lot of vocabulary. And this book is excellent for, also it has 4 exams, 80 national, 30 state. Again, remember that some of the state questions are incorrect, but it is still an excellent source. So now let me show you on our YouTube, on our Facebook page where you can find it. Oh, I should have gone to the actual Agent Prep page. So it's coming up. And when you don't know something, look it up on Google. Remember, this is your business and you need to be resourceful and learn how to find things, because once you get into the business, nobody's going to do it for us. Nobody's going to do it for you. Don't expect to get. You owe it to yourself to learn it, to build it, and know how to do the business. You will get help, mentors, and guides from other realtors at eXp Realty, where I'm at. Okay, I'm looking for individuals to join me at eXp. Once you pass your exam, we have mentors, and I'm one of the mentors that can mentor you. There are many others that you can choose. However, we have lots and lots of benefits. And let's talk once you pass your exam or before. Okay, so I created all these guides from all the files that I had uploaded, okay, on here. I created guides, what to know about eXp, vocabulary. So there's other sources on here about vocabulary. This book, the Real Estate License Sales Guide, has vocabulary on it. I should have probably added it on here also. So this book has 4 exams and the vocabulary, math, and it's excellent. So it's right here for you to download. It's a PDF file, or you can, click it on Google, and it's called the 4th edition, and you'll be able to download it for free. Save your money and find resources for free that you can use. There are a lot of them on there. If you still can't pass, develop a little study group, study with other people, ask questions on these groups, okay, on YouTube. And study, study, study. There's test-taking tips, acronyms that I mentioned, the different types of property ownership, national exam reviews, math review, estates, different type of estate that gets confusing to many people, Fair Housing Acts, the current contract, closing disclosures, which is called the CD acronym, principles of agency, and other practice exams on here. Right? Because you're taking it with Pearson VUE. It doesn't have to be the Pearson VUE exam, right? It can be from anybody else. But I recommend you look for books and material that explains the answers. There are many schools out there that are awesome. And you can buy the prep book from them when you take the class, right? Because you want to study the prep book, not all the big books. You want to summarize it, narrow it down, and get to the point. But first and foremost, study your darn vocabulary, okay? That's going to help you answer a lot of questions. And so that's the weakness of a lot of us. When we don't know the terms, the language, we miss a lot of questions, okay? And that can help you pass. So at any time when you have questions, hey, write them down in the chat. And I look at my YouTube, the Facebook frequently. so that I can answer them or somebody else can be able to answer them, okay? So thanks for attending. Hi, Sixtas. 2021 Form 2 National Exam. Okay, I'm not understanding. You're very welcome, Becca or Irene. Sixtus, I'm not understanding 2021 Form 2 National Exam. You're very welcome. So go back and watch it on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook group or my Facebook page, Agent Prep. That is me with Wow Lillie Hendy. Until next time, catch you later. Enjoy your weekend.